Oh, hello there. It's day 2 of the government shutdown. It's about as productive as anyone during the shutdown is going to get. I'm pretty sure those at the creation of the federal system knew better about federalism. Men like John Marshall or Alex Hamilton. Or John Marshall. Now, one of the 3 major court cases in the John Marshall Court was McCulloch versus Maryland. Now, McCulloch versus Maryland happened when the United States federal government tried to create a second National Bank of the United States. Maryland, not wanting the second National Bank of the United States, decided to tax the bank and try to make the bank pay taxes to the state of Maryland. Now, to go into a little bit more deeper issue, really the tax system would be that banks not chartered to Maryland, which would be the national second bank, would have to either A, buy stamped paper directly from Maryland, pay $15,000 a year, which was a lot of money back then, or go out of business. And so John Marshall was brought in, the Supreme Court was brought in, decide whether it was A, constitutional to have the bank in the first place, and B, were states able to tax it. So John Marshall came in and he believed that it was necessary and proper for the creation of a national bank in the United States, mainly because it was not mentioned anywhere in the Constitution about a bank. But John Marshall said it was necessary and proper for the United States to be able to coin money and then have a place to put that money. And then the second decision that John Marshall made regarding the case was that Maryland could not tax the bank. So what ended up happening was John Marshall said that states couldn't tax a National Bank of the United States. A, because if you tax the National Bank of the United States, obviously all the states would get a lot of money and the national government would have none. But also that the federal government had more power and authority than the state government, and that has far-reaching consequences today, being things like the Supremacy Clause, and how much power the federal government has in controlling commerce. Now the next Now another court case would have been the Gibbons versus Ogin court case. Now the Gibbons versus Ogin court case had to do with interstate commerce and monopolies. So the New York government gave exclusive right to ferrying on the Hudson River to a man named Richard Fulton. Now, New Jersey was very mad because the Hudson River was shared a border between both of them, and also because that's a monopoly. You can't do that. And all the commerce would be going to New York. And so the court case was brought up to the Marshall Court. Now, John Marshall, being the mastermind that he is, decided that, the state government could not regulate and specify specific commerce. That it was up to it's up to Congress to regulate commerce, and that means economic activity as well, so that specific companies did not have a monopoly when it came to specific goods. And this case was phenomenal when you think about it, the far-reaching effects, such as that in the 1900s, when Teddy Roosevelt and Taft, our jolliest presidents, went up and tried to tackle some of the monopolies, such as the meat industry monopoly and also the railroad monopolies, because of interstate commerce and decisions made by John Marshall back in 1824. Now there is one more. Now the last case to check the powers of states' rights was the Barron versus Baltimore case in 1833. Now, the Barron versus Baltimore case was now the last case to check the powers of states' rights was the Barron versus Baltimore case in 1833. Now, the Barron versus Baltimore case was when John Barron, a person who owned a dock or wharf, tried to sue the states due to the Fifth Amendment and get just compensation when his wharf was overrun by soot and sentiments during construction by the states, making him lose profits. And John Marshall came down and he said, "No! You do not get compensation because the state took your lands without just compensation, which was the Fifth Amendment that they could not do." But the national government only had the enumerated rights guaranteed in the Bill of Rights. States could ignore or didn't have to take any of the rights set in the Bill of Rights. It only applied to the national government. And so John Barron didn't get his money. Yeah. There's a lot of things today that aren't getting its money. A lot of things today don't get its money. This has been Federalism, another horrible school production. Stay safe, America. Stay safe.